Maybe we could start at the beginning of how you would explain Vedanta to a psychology student who may be unfamiliar with the tradition.
Let me answer this from my personal experience. I was about 22 years old and young and foolish, qualified as a clinical psychologist and counselor in Mumbai, and I was working in a child guidance clinic. My clients at that time were doing extremely well with all the counseling and therapy that I was offering, but I felt empty. I had learned how to change my irrational beliefs into rational ones. I had learned behavior modification techniques. I had learned how to integrate fragmented selves into the aware ego as a part of Gestalt therapy. Despite all this, and being a relatively mature, sorted person, life seemed meaningless because life was ultimately going to end in death. And that's around the time that I attended a Vedanta class by Swami Brahmaprajnananda in Mumbai. And in the first class itself, I knew that Vedanta is home. So for the uninitiated, Vedanta is a vision of oneness between the person, the world, and God. Psychology teaches us that our thoughts and feelings are real, and hence we naturally work towards psychological well-being. Vedanta teaches us that you are much more than your thoughts and feelings. In fact, you are much more than your mind. In psychology, one is always a whip, and one whips oneself also. So whip as in work in progress. There is never a time that the work on yourself is done, and it can feel exhausting. Whereas Vedanta teaches us that the limitless being that one is cannot be improved upon. Psychology teaches us that we can try to aim for self-actualization, maximize our happy experiences, and even prepare to die well. But there is no therapy for the grand event called death. Vedanta, on the other hand, teaches us that you, the limitless being, was never born and will never die. So all the different psychological paradigms rest on the assumption that the individual is separate and isolated from the whole. At best, we can aim for connection. We can try to modify our subjectivity, but the existing alienation of the person from the whole, WHOLE, remains. So to a psychology student who's unfamiliar with the Vedanta tradition, I would say that Vedanta is a discipline of knowledge that reveals the reality of who you are, which can never be negated, even by you. And in the vision of Vedanta, you are the very fullness, Ananda, that you seek, which has no sense of lack. The human experience of limitation is a psychological one. We think, but it is not. It is actually a spiritual problem, and hence Vedanta is the solution. And so there has been this teaching tradition of Vedanta, which has been largely nurtured in India, but it speaks to the universal human experience of seeking happiness and is available to all of humanity. Vedanta is learned by approaching a guru and listening to the vision being unfolded and looking at one's life in the light of that vision.